Welcome back. The Portland Business Alliance is Portland's Chamber of Commerce, and recently the Alliance released 2 reports on the state of the economy and the state of downtown and the Central City. Some key numbers: leisure and hospitality is starting to come back from the pandemic, with more than 10% job growth last year in Multnomah County. However, people are moving out of Portland, mainly to Vancouver, as our population declined by more than 12,000 last year, accounting for a loss of $117 million in revenue for Multnomah County. And one reason for the migration: local business taxes have increased 32% over the past 3 years. Andrew Hone is president and CEO of the Portland Business Alliance, and thank you for joining us on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thanks for having me.
How concerned are you that people are moving out of the city of Portland and into Vancouver, Washington?
Well, I think it's concerning, obviously, to lose population. It's voting with your feet is the message that sends. And you need population growth to sustain a general increase in your taxes into governments, to supply basic services, and help grow the economy. So population loss is not a good thing. And really, this is on the heels of almost 3 decades of unmitigated population growth. So we're seeing a quick departure from our past experiences, and that is alarming.
Yeah, the pandemic changed how we work, especially in downtown. A lot of people not returning to downtown after the pandemic. They've learned how to work remotely. We've got 8 million square feet of vacant office space, a 26% vacancy rate for downtown offices. What do we do to turn that around, or do we have to reimagine what downtown is?
Well, it's A and B, and probably C, D, E, and F. So we need all of the above to be able to course correct here. So yes, we will come back. The idea that downtowns across the nation are done is just a false narrative. The elements that are important to business are not shocking. They are livability issues, about having basic public safety, about having a welcoming environment, about having a supportive tax structure. Those things are necessary and they're basic. So we will see a return to our center city, and we have to remember we were one of the first into the pandemic's restrictions that really exacerbated the overall experience of the office core, saved lives simultaneously, and one of the last out. So we're really behind the game because we prioritize public health here in this region. So let's not forget that part of it. But moving forward, yeah, we're going to have to rethink how downtown looks. It will be different, and that's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to densify the core in terms of getting more people to live downtown. And it's also an opportunity to say to our employer community, you matter, we want to keep you here, and we're willing to do what it takes to enhance our economy and to incentivize employers to come to the crown jewel of the state's economy, which is downtown Portland.
What is it going to take from city and county leaders in order to make sure the business community feels welcome in downtown Portland? What can be done on that level? Yeah,
let's just talk about the fact that we've had those rapid tax increases over the last several years. A lot of those were approved by voters, and so obviously we're in a place that welcomes high taxes. Let's not pretend we aren't. But let's talk about spending those dollars accountably. I think that's what the business community wants to see, is that the supportive housing services measure money to help end our homelessness crisis makes a visible, noticeable difference on our streets. The public safety issues, we need to get our handle on that. That means having accountable public safety and criminal justice in our community. That has to be prioritized. So making sure that the resources that have been allocated and that we are taxed are spent and done so in a urgent manner, that people see the visible manifestation. So that's the first element of it. And then secondly, we need an all hands on deck approach to getting the economy back on track. That means city, county, state, and federal government. Let's not let our partners in higher governments off the hook here. We're in distress right now, and we do need a layering of support for things like incentives. And this could be, like I know we're going to talk about, office to housing is just one element of that. But sending that, we're open for business. We want to see you downtown. We want to see your businesses open. We want to keep you here, and we're willing to do what it takes to make that happen.
Yeah, let's talk about that. The city council passed ordinances making it easier to convert unused office space into affordable housing. Is that a good plan? What do you think about it?
No, it's great. I mean, this is just the beginning. And I think it should be celebrated, where you have a city council leaning into just one of the tools that we need to have here in downtown and really actually across our entire city. And this isn't about every building. We're not talking about converting high rises into housing. It just doesn't work. But for where it does work, this is textbook. This is what you need to do. You're incentivizing, you're reducing regulation. It's that sort of urgent addressing of an issue to create more housing, densify the core. And what I was most impressed by is the city council saying, hey, we're not going even far enough. And so we need about 10 more similar ordinances to make sure that we have an absolute streamlined path towards building new housing here in our center city, opening up new retail locations. It is absolutely reprehensible that it would take longer to open up a little mom and pop retail shop than it would to start a tech company in your dorm room here. We cannot have that. That's inequitable, and we need to cut through that red tape. So it takes all of the above to answer the economic problems that we're facing here.
You know, we do see some significant development in one part of the city, and that's the West End, where the new Ritz-Carlton Hotel will be opening this year. A lot of businesses, restaurants in that area. How do you assess what's happening on the West End?
I think it's the example of the neighborhood we want to see. There's a lot of people who live in the West End and work in the West End. And what we're seeing is communities that have that really healthy mix between residential and office and retail are thriving. And in fact, I would say even look to Slabtown, where you see, practically 0% vacancy in office. So this myth that people aren't coming back to the office is real. It's a myth. It doesn't exist. Where we have a nice mix of services, retail, residential, and office, we're seeing success. West End's a perfect example of that. And I think if anyone wants to count Portland out, well, I would just point them over the Ritz-Carlton. We're getting our first 5-star hotel here in the city. So if people think Portland's on its way out, I'd say you need to do a little bit of a gut check here, because we're building, we're coming back, there are good stories. We need to get our swagger back, and it's part of it by recognizing the good that is happening.
Where do you see Portland in 5 or 10 years?
It's a new Portland. It's one that went through some hard times. And I think people here haven't experienced this level of challenge in a long time. But just look to the upper Midwest, look to the city that I moved from, New York, when you had the President of the United States in the 70s say, drop dead New York City. And I think the attitude that somehow we're incapable of getting out of this needs to be erased. The self-hating, the self-loathing needs to go away. Portland's going to be all right, and it's going to recover differently. It will look differently. I'm even seeing in our data when we're tracking who's coming to downtown, we're seeing a younger demographic showing up in our central city who's coming for nights and weekends. That's a good thing. We need to welcome a different demographic into our center city that maybe wasn't there before, and to think about how we could reposition ourselves now, because we have the ability to do so. But we have to course correct, or in 5 years we could be in a place that looks like a Cleveland, that looks like a Columbus, if we don't take immediate action. Some of these things are happening right now, the way the governor is intervening in a very serious way. We have not seen that before. There has been a hands-off approach to Portland before because it was doing well. It was 3 decades of success, but that's not where we are right now. We need everybody to be supportive of a Portland recovery, because give me an example of a state in this nation that's seen its flagship city in decline not suffer the same consequences.
Andrew Hone, thank you very much for being with us on Eye on Northwest Politics.